Every time you open your favorite social media app, something begins to shift inside your brain. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but it's there, subtle, invisible, and powerful. Each scroll, every like, every notification releases a small spark of dopamine, the chemical of pleasure. And just like that, your brain starts to remember this feeling and begins to crave it again and again. What once felt like harmless entertainment quietly becomes a dependency, a never-ending loop of reward and desire. You find yourself reaching for your phone without even thinking. You open the same app again, even though you know nothing new is there. This isn't a coincidence. This is by design. Every sound, every color, every vibration is meticulously engineered to capture your attention and hold it just long enough to train your brain to come back for more. The more you scroll, the more your brain learns to seek these short, intense bursts of stimulation instead of deep focus or calm satisfaction. Your attention span shrinks. Your patience wears thin. You might find it harder to read a book, harder to think deeply, harder to just be still. Yet the craving continues, because your mind is relentlessly chasing that next tiny hit of dopamine. But it goes deeper than that. Behind the screen, powerful algorithms are studying your every move. They're learning what makes you angry, what piques your curiosity, what makes you stay just a little bit longer. They know when you pause, when you scroll fast, and they can even infer when your heart rate spikes. Slowly, the content you see begins to shape itself around your emotions. Your feed starts to mirror your mind, not who you are, but what keeps you engaged. Without you even realizing it, your emotions are no longer fully your own. The constant exposure to comparison, outrage, and curated perfection begins to sculpt how you see the world and yourself. You start to measure your own worth through digital validation, likes, comments, shares. You begin to feel anxious when the notifications stop, and restless when they explode. The endless flow of information is exhausting your mind, leaving you feeling overstimulated but completely undernourished. Your brain, which was built for depth and meaning, is drowning in fragments of digital noise. Now, this isn't about weakness or a lack of willpower. It's about biology. The dopamine system was designed to guide us toward survival, finding food, connecting with others. But now it's being hijacked by systems that reward your attention instead of your growth. Your brain doesn't know the difference between genuine joy and digital stimulation. It only knows reward. Over time, this constant artificial stimulation starts to dull the very receptors that create motivation. Things that once brought you natural pleasure, reading, spending time in nature, quiet moments, can start to feel flat and uninteresting compared to the hyper-intensity of the screen. Your thoughts become shorter, your focus scattered. You check your phone in the middle of conversations. You scroll the moment you wake up, and it's the last thing you see before you sleep. The silence between moments becomes uncomfortable, something to be filled. But deep inside, your mind remembers what peace feels like. It remembers stillness, it remembers real, genuine connection. And the good news is, awareness is the first step back. The moment you begin to see how deeply social media has shaped your mind and emotions, you gain the power to reverse it. Your brain isn't broken. It's incredibly adaptable. When you consciously limit your screen time, your dopamine balance begins to restore itself. When you allow yourself to feel bored, you're actually giving your creativity a chance to reawaken. And when you reconnect with the physical world, sunlight on your skin, the sound of laughter, a real hug, your nervous system starts to reset. You begin to feel present again. Your ability to focus grows stronger. Happiness returns, not in loud bursts, but in simpler, slower moments. This journey isn't about deleting technology entirely. It's about redefining your relationship with it. Social media can be a wonderful tool. It can connect us, educate us, and inspire us. But it should serve you, not own you. The key is intention. Use it consciously, not compulsively. Start by noticing how your body feels after a long scroll. Notice the tension in your neck, the dullness in your eyes, that subtle anxiety humming in your chest. Those sensations are messages from your nervous system, and it's asking for a rest. Give your mind space to breathe. Try replacing just some of that screen time with silence, a short walk, reading a physical book, or having a real conversation. Little by little, you'll feel the fog start to lift. The dopamine storms will calm down. You'll start to feel genuine joy in ordinary things again. Your brain has an amazing capacity to repair itself. That's its nature. What social media secretly does to your mind is not permanent. It's reversible. but it requires awareness, patience, and practice. Every time you resist the urge to mindlessly scroll, you strengthen the circuits in your brain responsible for focus and self-control. Every time you sit with boredom instead of reaching for your phone, you build mental resilience. And every time you look someone in the eye instead of at a screen, you feed your brain with genuine human connection, something no algorithm can ever replicate. The future will belong to those who can manage their attention. In a world constantly competing for your focus, the ability to be present becomes a superpower. So right now, take a deep breath. Turn off the noise for a moment. If you can, step outside. Feel the world as it really is, unfiltered, imperfect, and vibrantly alive. The peace you're searching for isn't inside your phone. It's within you, just waiting to be noticed again. Awareness is freedom, and that freedom begins the moment you decide to reclaim your mind. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that helps you thrive in our modern world. I'll see you in the next one. Have you ever felt that quiet hum inside you just after you put your phone down? That moment when you step away from all the noise and something sacred returns. Silence. I'm not talking about an empty, awkward silence, but the kind that breathes. The kind where you start to feel life again in its purest, most unfiltered form. You hear the wind rustling through the leaves. You feel the steady rhythm of your own heartbeat. This is the pulse of the real world, constant, patient, and real. This is what our minds were designed for. Not for an endless stream of stimulation, but for meaningful presence. When you make that choice, slowly, you begin to rebuild. You start learning how to use technology as the powerful tool it is, not as your master. You pick up your phone when you choose to, not when it buzzes and demands your attention. You scroll with awareness, not with the compulsive itch of addiction. And as you do this, you feel a new kind of power growing inside you. It's not a power over other people, but a power over yourself. You start to realize that the most valuable skill in this century isn't decoding or marketing. It's attention control. When you can direct your focus, you control your reality. Every thought you choose to feed becomes your energy. Every distraction you allow steals it away. So, you start creating boundaries. You block out time without screens. You dedicate hours to reading a real book, walking in nature, or learning a new skill offline. At first, your mind fights back. It craves that quick hit of dopamine it used to live on. But as the days turn into weeks, that craving starts to fade. It's replaced by a calm, steady clarity. You start sleeping better. Your thoughts become deeper, more coherent. You feel lighter. Real rest, the kind that truly recharges you, finally returns. You start waking up not to a barrage of notifications, but to a sense of purpose. You rediscover what it means to live intentionally. The quality of your attention starts to define the quality of your entire life. You're no longer chasing the latest trends. You're chasing truth. You no longer desperately seek validation from strangers online. You seek genuine personal growth. You begin to replace mindless scrolling with deliberate creating. You write, you paint, you move your body, you explore the world right outside your door. The very same energy that once fueled your digital addiction now fuels your imagination. And that S when the big realization hits. The true purpose of the human mind is not to consume, it's to create. That quiet space between your thoughts isn't emptiness, it's pure potential. It's in that silence that your best ideas are born. It's in that silence that your inner peace expands and takes root. You start spending time with real people again, not just with their online profiles. Eye contact replaces emojis. Real, nuanced conversations replace shallow comment threads. Laughter becomes louder, deeper, and more authentic. The world around you, which might have seemed gray and muted through a screen, regains its vibrant color. You finally understand that true happiness isn't found in a constant state of excitement, but in a delicate balance, a dance between stimulation and stillness. You accept that not every moment needs to be captured, filtered, and posted. Some moments are sacred simply because they exist, and you were fully there to experience them. You begin to trust yourself again. You listen to your body, to your intuition, to that quiet inner voice that was drowned out for so long by the digital noise. That voice becomes your compass. It guides you toward what truly matters and helps you steer away from what drains your energy. You realize that true freedom is unbout having the entire world at your fingertips. It's about having the self-discipline to choose what truly matters from all that noise. A profound sense of gratitude starts to bubble up for the simple things you used to overlook. The warmth of a cup of tea, the fresh smell after a walk in the rain, a long conversation with a friend without a single phone in sight. You discover that joy was never gone. It was just buried under countless layers of digital clutter. Now that the fog has lifted, you see with new eyes. Your mind feels lighter, your heart feels more open. You no longer need validation from a screen, because you found something infinitely more powerful: self-acceptance. This doesn't mean you abandon social media entirely. Instead, you start using it differently. You curate your digital space like a garden. You unfollow the accounts that bring chaos and anxiety. You nurture the ones that provide wisdom. You plant seeds of knowledge and inspiration for others. You become intentional with every single thing you consume. You share, not for approval, but for purpose. You create, not for attention, but for impact. The digital world no longer consumes you, you guide it. This is mastery. This is the difference between being mindlessly influenced and being consciously aware, between reacting and creating. You understand now that technology itself is not evil. It's neutral. Its power, for good or for bad, depends entirely on how you use it. When used with awareness, it can expand your consciousness, help you build incredible communities, and inspire meaningful change. But without that awareness, it can fragment your soul. Awareness is the switch, and you have finally turned it on. You have reclaimed your mind, your time, and your energy. You now live with a sense of focus, not frenzy. You feel at peace, not pressured. You exist in the real world again, a world that might move a little slower, but feels infinitely fuller. Each moment holds so much more meaning because you are actually there to feel it. You are not against technology. You are simply beyond addiction. You have learned to coexist with it wisely. That is the next step in our evolution. As you move through your life now, distractions will still call your name, but you no longer feel compelled to answer every single one. You know the true cost of your attention, and you spend it like a precious currency, only on what adds genuine value to your soul. You see others still trapped in that endless loop, scrolling for purpose, chasing the illusion of connection. But you've been there, and you know the way out. You become a quiet example, a living reminder that peace is possible, even in our hyper-digital age. You no longer run from silence, you rest in it. You no longer chase meaning, you live it. This is freedom, not the kind you post about for likes, but the kind you feel deep in your bones, the kind that can't be taken away, because it lives and breathes inside you. The world may never slow down, but you have. And in that newfound stillness, you've found the one truth that social media could never give you. Happiness was never in the feed. It was in your mind all along, just waiting for you to log back into reality. And now, you are home. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content on living an intentional life. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay present.